Why would Man City sign Jérémy Doku? Well, I mean, transfers are pretty obvious. Sometimes they seem even more obvious when you look at them in the context of what the club is currently going through. But Jérémy Doku, it just makes so much sense, which obviously as a Liverpool fan, you don't appreciate. But as a fan of football, as a fan of Pep Guardiola, you probably do appreciate. But let's put him in the context of Man City. Welcome back to the Lawrence McKenna channel. This is going to be a little bit of fun. Jérémy Doku is an incredibly fun player. A lot of people use the typical cliches for him. Hey, he's raw, he's talented, he's got technical ability, he's strong, he's got a low center of gravity, all these kind of things. But what is it that Pep Guardiola will get out of him? And specifically, what is it that Man City saw in signing him? Because whilst a lot of people might say, hey, this is a Pep Guardiola signing, this guy is raw, this guy is the kind of player that he would have gotten in at, say, a Barcelona or, I mean, maybe he would have got him in at Barcelona, but there is this interesting twist in all of this. Obviously, KDB will have had a hand in this, right? I think whenever you sign a fellow compatriot, a fellow countryman, you will have been looking at what was possible with him, and you will have been saying, hey, how do you combine with him? How would you set up with him? And KDB basically gave a really glowing review to the higher-ups at Man City, not just Pep Guardiola. Now, Pep is in the middle of a rebuild, right? And I think that's really important to acknowledge here. These three guys have left. There are other people who've left this summer, but Cancelo, Mahrez, and Gundogan all gone. I think it's fair to say that they would have liked now to have kept a Gundogan, possibly even a Mahrez, but they would have liked to have kept a Gundogan only purely because they missed out on two of their biggest transfer targets at the beginning of the summer. A, Jude Bellingham, who I think Liverpool and City both felt fairly confident of signing, and B, because they also liked what Gundogan bought, but also Rice as well. I think after they missed out on Rice and then Caicedo and then go on top of that as well, they've inquired about a lot of people over the last few weeks, to the point where I think City would have even been offered Lavia and might have considered him, but probably wouldn't have taken him. Weirdly. However, they have had two other people arrive, one of which is Guardiola. I think he was a massive signing for them. I think he's a long-term brilliant centre-back who's probably just going to be one of those seamless players that fits into Man City in the first place. And not only that, he was their primary target. Secondly, Kovacic. Gotta love the signing of Kovacic. I think he's one of those players where you just go, this guy, yeah, that face, he's a classic Pep Guardiola player. Thirdly, let's talk about some of the players that have stayed, because these three guys leaving put pressure on the players that have then stayed. A, Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer is a future talent within the country. And I get it at this point. Like a lot of people are saying, where's the Doku analysis? I'm laying the foundations here, my friends. Cole Palmer is an extremely talented young prospect. And you can clearly see that he's been crafted in a Pep Guardiola-esque style. The guy reads the game incredibly well. He finds space incredibly well. And when it does come to getting off the basics of getting your shot off, getting into the spaces that you want to score a goal from, and combination play, you can clearly see Pep Guardiola's had a hand in that. The other aspect of this is this guy. Re-signed a contract. At one point, it was almost nailed on that Bernardo Silva was going to leave. But what you then got to do when you re-sign someone like Bernardo Silva is you have to go, right, how do we enable someone like this? Someone like Jérémy Doku is perfect for that. And I will lay out why in a second. Obviously, they kept Bernardo Silva. I still think there is a creative midfielder, a creative presence to come in at Man City. They've got this explosive, what most people call raw talent. I kind of want to stay away from some of those terms because we know why, but you get my point here. Like there's someone there that Pep Guardiola can craft, someone there that hasn't been at the very top level consistently because he's come through Anderlecht and then Stade Rennes, and obviously he's been with Belgium, but there's still a long way for him to go. He's still extremely young. What he needs is people around him who can feed him the ball, who can give him that little pass round the corner that he then cuts in on side on when he's on the left. That little pass around the corner that he then feeds a Haaland with, that he then feeds an Alvarez with, that he then feeds a Foden with. Can you feed a Foden? You can. On top of that, I would say with this creative presence that possibly coming in, if I was Man City, I'd be looking at like a Wirtz, a Barella. I don't understand why no one so far has gone for Ezebiri Eze. I would just be looking at some exciting young link-up players that you can go in and hit with that big money. They didn't get your Bellingham. They didn't get your Rice. There is still a midfield budget there to be spent by Pep Guardiola or by Cheeky, I think it is, this summer. Spend it. Use it. sheathe it. On top of that, my friends, we can now get into the signing of Doku. Just three minutes into the video, 4 minutes. First of all, let's talk about his heat map, right? He's predominantly going to be cutting in from this side, but I also love his goals when he comes in from here. And I mean love his goals when he comes in from here. If you then also take him as someone who can play off someone like a Haaland, Haaland's going to create so much space in this kind of an area where Haaland is. So you can then just cut in and bam, goal. Bam, goal. There are so many crosses that go to that back post. It's beautiful. But the thing that really got me excited probably actually shouldn't have been this, because these kind of charts broadly mean very little to nothing. And actually, it does show his rawness. That technical ability being 91, there's like some sort of cheat code there with this guy. 91? When you look at this, the star tends to be fairly balanced, right? But 91 technical ability, Pep Guardiola will be fawning over this kid. Attacking-wise, we obviously know he's good. Creation-wise, we obviously know he's good. His passing ability. Last season at Stade Rennes, he had so many opportunities. He had so many expected, well, not so many, but he had a decent amount of expected assists. They didn't get put away. He's going to be an assist machine for someone like Haaland. He's going to be an assist machine for someone like Alvarez. He's going to be an assist machine for cutting it back. And also, because he is so explosive, because his pace is so incredible, he's going to be getting on the inside, he's going to be worrying defenders, and they're going to drag a lot of people out of position. That's exactly what he's going to do. Also, in a very compacted midfield, like Pep Guardiola has played more recently, there is going to be this chance to get a little chalk on your boots. Give us a little width out there. Give us something that we can work with, Jérémy. I love that his name's Jérémy, by the way. Jérémy's a great name in the first place. Some really famous Jérémys in the world. Or past, Jérémy Beadle. There is then the tactical side of things. Tactically, I think he's not really played in many teams where he's tactically had the opportunity to show himself, which is probably why they've gone to someone like KDB and gone, hey, do you know this kid? Yeah? Is he smart? To which KDB will have said yes. KDB will have evaluated it in a very generous way. And then obviously defensively probably has been deployed, especially in a team like Stade Rennes, where he's a much more crude type winger. So the way that he's been used probably isn't the way you want to see him used at Man City. Again, a big, and I can't emphasize this enough about so many of these, a big step up. I say this about every transfer this summer, but it is a big step up. On top of that, that's why you don't see many defensive actions, but there are still a couple of defensive actions back here. So you don't see him being uncomfortable in those areas. It's just that broadly, does Kyle Walker need someone like Jérémy Doku ahead of him? Most probably not, especially if you look at Man City's average positions this season. It's kind of interesting. Kyle Walker's there at the moment, and on average, he's actually more like a right midfielder this season for Man City. That's because the midfield is so compressed. They have this out ball over here. Guardiola is much more like that. He's not really a left wing back. He's actually much more of a left centre back, so it's actually a bit more like that. But on the average positions, it's really Diaz that's anchoring that midfield. Rodri at the moment, probably playing a little bit too much. Another reason why you would have imagined that Man City will want to bring in a Rice or a Bellingham. I know Bellingham now is playing more advanced for Real Madrid, but you get my point. And there's probably the need for another midfield presence in there, even though, they've obviously got someone like Bernardo Silva in there. They need someone who's a little bit more defensively minded. Kovacic possibly brought in for that kind of rotation, but at the moment they don't have that. Well, especially having lost KDB, they will want another presence in that midfield, I think. I think they just want someone else, especially that they've lost Gundogan, Cancelo cutting in, those kind of things. Rodri's playing a lot of minutes for those guys at the moment. Anyway, Walker is playing a lot more there. At the moment, they kind of cut someone inside, more like that. Doku would be this great, come on, give me him. Doku would be this great presence who could get out there, get that chalk on his boots, almost, dare I say it, inverse Thierry Henry style at Barcelona, where he's like cutting inside, just bellowing at down on these defenders. You can imagine an Ibrahimovic maybe there, but cutting inside, you can get loads of goals from there. Haaland, and obviously he can also come up here. Loads of great crosses from there. Bam, bam, bam. Overload. Bear in mind, actually, City don't really set. I mean, I know their average positions like this. Their average positions are probably a lot more advanced, right? Diaz definitely is not a centre midfielder. Kyle Walker there. Like, look at that. That, my friends, is probably much more how they will play. Although Haaland's probably even deeper. It's probably Haaland gets a more deeper position like that, knocks it down to some of these guys. The point is that Doku will be playing off a lot of these people. Doku will be playing in a position where his combination play will be an all-time high with Pep Guardiola. But here's the kicker. I don't even know if Palmer stays if Doku gets all that many minutes this season. Will he be more of a Mahrez peripheral type character? Will it be that he needs a season to bed in? Will he get the time like Jack Grealish got in the previous season to just learn what it is that Pep Guardiola wants? He's not a Jack Grealish type. Jack Grealish was clearly deployed a little bit deeper for Aston Villa, someone like that. But Doku is going to be one of those incisive offensive leaders within this Man City side. And as much as I think to myself, okay, Doku probably won't play all that many minutes if Cole Palmer stays. If Cole Palmer is also told, hey, Doku's ahead of you in the pecking order, I think what we're going to see is that Cole Palmer gets loaned out himself or asks for a loan himself, and then Doku plays more regularly. So we've got that. We've also got the fact that at the moment, obviously, weirdly, I put Alvarez and Foden there. I probably should have put Alvarez and Haaland, but you kind of got this, where it's like Haaland's like the fulcrum of it. He probably will play a lot deeper there. Not all the time, but you'll see his average position there. And Foden, Grealish, Doku all playing off him. If you brought someone else in, like an Eze, you'd probably see them push a little bit further up. If you brought someone in like I still can't believe that Barella hasn't signed. Give me a nice Barella. It's a beautiful red. Get me a beautiful Barella. It'd be great this summer. If they get in a Barella, someone like that, who can play a little bit further forward, can you imagine the control for Man City? The filth that would be? Would they even need to play? I don't even know if they need to play this right now, if I'm honest. But Guardiola's probably going to play there. Akanji's probably going to play a bit more. I think Akanji might even be the one that's sort of dropping into that midfield at the moment. Rodri there. They're just so stacked at the back that it just allows them to just push so many people forward. And the cheat code that he's sort of doing at the moment is Walker, bear in mind, could play as a centre-back if he wanted to. So he's kind of playing 4 centre-backs almost constantly, which gives you a great basis to that midfield, allows you to push up, gives you basically 2 units out on the field, but gives you that connecting tissue in between. I really think there is another signing in here that's going to basically unlock the rest of the side, or be it like a Pep Guardiola project. I think Pep sort of does a one for you, one for me type sort of thing, where when they sign someone like a Haaland or a Guardiola, someone like that, it's like, one for me. Okay, now cheeky is one for you. And then he gets his Doku type signing. I think there's a balance in that. I don't mind that so much, right? But within this, why sign Doku now when you've got I guess my real critical question is, why sign Doku now when you have so many other priorities transfer-wise? When you have so many other, hey, we need to address this issue in midfield. Do they need anyone? Probably need to address the big midfield issue right now. I'm not saying they're light. I think they've got quality in every position. But I think when you see that KDB's injured, when you see what is going on in terms of just the overall Premier League at the moment and how players are burning out, how players are getting injuries, you look at someone like a Rodri, you look at someone like a Haaland, who obviously was out with an injury last season. You look at someone like one of the 2 central defenders who are playing fairly regularly but could be rotated if injuries allow them to be rotated. I think there's just more to come here from City. We don't frame them in nearly the same way as we frame a Liverpool or whatever. We don't think of them having this ideal starting 11, so to speak. And that's kind of what's amazing about Doku in the first place, and what's fun about Doku in the first place. Doku is a wonderful plaything. If you don't play Grealish, say this is another player, right? You could actually put Doku's comfortable either over there or over there. And what I love about him, here are some of the attributes I love. Passing, combination play, fantastic. What are we seeing that's really strong in the moment in the Premier League? Passing, combination play. We saw it from Chelsea in the preseason. Obviously, we've seen it from City in the preseason. I'm loving the idea that he can cut inside. He's got this kind of weird, it's almost like a knuckleball that he sort of hits. So he sort of cuts inside, clears it out from under his feet, and that right foot, bang. It's like this, it travels in the same way as a knuckleball. There doesn't seem to be that same level of spin on it. It doesn't really even spin around the goalkeeper. It almost does that straight but wavy thing that you just hate to see if you're a defender, but love to see if you're a striker. Just saying. And then secondly, he can do that from either side. That's annoying. Anyway, back to this chart. No, back to this chart. Oh man, he's just such a fun little signing for them. He's such a fun little, what can we do with this type thing? Obviously, I put Alvarez in there. I probably mean more like a Foden. I probably mean more like a Barella, an Eze, a Wirtz. Doku's kind of a flex. But at the same time, they overpaid for him. They haven't overpaid for him. I think in the long run, they probably haven't overpaid for him. I think in the short run, that's a lot of money to spend on someone when you've got other people that you need to buy, or you should be buying. The midfield, relatively light at the moment. And I know Pep likes a small squad that he can rotate. He will use that, he will get that. All I'm saying is, this Doku signing is one for a season's time, is one for later. And it shows, even when Man City could potentially be in disarray this summer, having missed out on big transfer targets, what Man City have done so well, and I've got to give them credit for this, not that they want the credit from me, but you get what I'm saying. They keep their business fairly private. Liverpool, very public this summer in what they wanted. It's kind of screwed up some of their tactics. City have just gone in. Doku relatively came out of nowhere. Like, I know, there's an element there where you go, of course we were going to get some more Mahrez, blah, blah, blah. You knew that Man City wanted a Rice or a Bellingham at the start of the summer. This, I think, shows that City are just able to work on multiple different fronts. And they've really strengthened. And Pep has gone, I can cope. I can do this. That's probably Foden, by the way. Yeah. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'd love to know how you think he fits into the team. I think he's going to be this wonderful inside type forward. A lot of people also asking if there's like a Mane type character there. I wonder if Doku in the long run could be playing as that kind of, maybe you can rotate. I think the great thing is he could rotate and be a great finisher with those kind of guys. They've kind of lacked that like Sterling type in recent years. I don't think he is that, but I think they've lacked some of those Sterling goals. Doku seems to be able to score in tight, close positions. Bring them in. Let me know what you guys think. Did you enjoy the video? Are you enjoying the videos at the moment? Thanks for watching the channel. We really appreciate it. We'll see you guys in a little while. Much love.